Dum, 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 dum.
Yeah, listen, they
Go
coming
home, go
in.
hard.
Yeah, listen, family is coming in into the comments section. People are lined up for this one. It must be our guest because
Oh
I know
no,
anybody here
stop
to
it.
see me. So, Montel, how
Stop
you
it.
living, brother?
I'm good, man. Blessed as usual.
Yeah.
Today's another sad day in our,
Uh,
with this thing going on, man, and this guns and I feel bad that I'm numb to it, that it
okay.
doesn't move me anymore.
All right. So
You know,
let's talk. We're gonna talk about
so
that
we'll
because
talk about that,
that's
yeah, but
obviously our lead social impact
yeah,
story. We want to get into that, and it's unfortunate that we kind of both feel kind of that same way. It's a tragedy, even though no one's been murdered, but it's just seeing these types of stories happen again. But before we get into all these, I want to say what's up to the folks that are in the community already chiming in. So listen, let me go ahead and pull this up. Look at this man. I don't know who that is right there, but somebody in the hold on. Let me bring up this guy. I don't know who that is right there. Y'all keep holding on. You'll know in a minute. Golden Phoenix in the building. Okay, we got some new folks in the room. This may be some of our guest community members coming in, but if not, Golden Phoenix. Were you here last week? I don't know. I'm old, brother. I'm old. Noosh is in the building. Okay, appreciate you for being here. And listen, KD is here. Love it. Love it. Tell everyone to come through as well. I'm gonna stop procrastinating. And we're gonna go ahead and bring this man in. Listen, another quality individual, another brother down from the Southern California area, involved in sports, involved in education, involved in our youth. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. James Riley. Everybody, come on! I give him the doctor title. Listen, you may
Hey
have a
man,
master's, you may have a PhD, but you're gonna be a doctor when you come on the Team No Sleep. How you living, man?
hey, I'm doing great, man. I appreciate the invitation
Yes, sir.
to hop on with you and Montel. Just the honor and the privilege, and hopefully I can bring some a little spice to the conversation that we're about to have tonight. So it's a wonderful thing, wonderful thing.
Definitely, man. Listen, tell the folks who you are and what it is that you do. I always like to have folks kind of tell their own origin story to kind of set precedents before we get into this conversation about we got about 5 or 6 topics. We're going to try to breeze through those, but tell the folks who you are, brother.
Absolutely. So, my name is James Riley, and you call me, Mr. Riley, or you refer to me as Doctor. I'll take that. I'll take that. But I'm actually an early childhood special educator here in the Los Angeles area. Been teaching in the school district. I believe this is my 24th or 25th year in education. I've taught everything from kinder up to middle school, 8th grade. Now I am a pre-K teacher in Los Angeles Unified, and you probably have heard what's going on down here in LA. One of our sister unions, they're actually on strike, participating in a 3-day strike with them. We're standing alongside them. It's not the teacher strike, which the media would have you to believe, but it is our assistants, our librarians, bus drivers, cafeteria staff, TAs, special ed assistants. We are standing strong with them. We're not crossing the line. And so we're just kind of helping our cause as well, because we're working without a contract. So, man, it's, I'm a father, I'm a husband. I'm involved in high school football sports. My 3 sons, 2 of which have D1 scholarships. We're working on the third one, and I have a daughter who's a cheerleader. And so, Christian, man of the faith, and so just a well-rounded dude over here in what I call the West Side. So I'm
I ain't
not throwing
mad
up
at
any
you.
gang signs. It's
Well,
just
look
West
behind
Side.
you. You look behind you. You throwing up the W. Come on,
Listen, West Side is just where I live. So,
yeah.
this is Mr. Riley coming to you live from the West Coast, the best coast, the West Side.
See,
That's
there
who
we
I
go.
am.
We can agree with that too. Appreciate you for being here, but hopefully we don't get into no arguments. You're already getting some compliments on the look and feel of your room. So
I
definitely
appreciate it.
appreciate you
I
for being
appreciate
here.
it. Appreciate it.
Let's go ahead and get into it, man. Montel started talking about it already. And again, since you guys are both in education, and my wife's in education, so we kind of can relate to, unfortunately, what's going on with this. Right now, we got the situation in Colorado, right? Young brother out there, unfortunately, shot up school a little bit, right? Went after some administrators, shot 2 administrators. The 2 administrators were admitted to the hospital with injuries, not life-threatening injuries, which is great to hear. Great to hear. But unfortunately, the young 17-year-old guy fled, and his car was found about 100 miles away from where he was. Talk to us your thoughts on, again, why Montel would say that he feels numb to these types of situations. Is it because we're continuing to see them, or I'm not even gonna put words in your mouth. Let's start with you, James. Well, we see these stories come up, and again, you're in the education industry. If something like this happened at one of your schools, and what are your thoughts on this, man?
Man, it's a rough, difficult situation, especially when I believe this school has just experienced something within the past couple of months.
Yeah,
And just kind of reading through the article, man, they're always going through lockdowns and things of that nature. And so, we practice at my school, we practice lockdowns and whatnot, but there's nothing like the real thing. And you know, we really don't want the real thing to happen, especially out here. We've heard of a lot of crazy things happening, outside of, schools in California. But man, this is crazy, and I'm just kind of. It's hard for me to believe that they knew that he had some difficulty, and so they
right.
made a modification for him to be searched before coming into the school. And so right off the bat, it kind of tells you, it's like, okay, if you have to be searched every day, that's a problem, and you're
Right.
putting some folks in jeopardy. You put in some lives, and they went to search this young man, and sure enough, it went left, right?
Yeah.
It went left. And so, thank God that, no one was wounded, fatally wounded. But man, we got to do something a lot better in our schools to help people who need some assistance. And going back to our strike, that's what we're fighting for over here. We're fighting for more counselors who can
Okay.
help some of our young people in our schools. Get them the resources, the mental health resources that they need. Now, I don't know what was available to him at his particular school, but it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy, and my heart goes out to anyone who's put in that situation. And Lord forbid that happened to one of our LA schools, right?
Right.
It is that's something that I don't want to ever have to experience as a parent, as an educator, as a member of the community. And so it's rough. And so hopefully that community can bounce back and get back on the right track, and maybe get some assistance, some resources for this young man before he does something crazier than what
Yeah.
he's already done.
Well, he's been expelled from school, right? Subsequent to this right here, but that's what the red border down at the bottom is saying, that the search for the suspect is still happening, and that he's been expelled from the school. But Montel, again, we unfortunately, and Chief is saying again, like another week, another story about a young brother committing an unspeakable act of violence. Man, we're tired of thoughts and prayers. We're tired of hashtags. Right, we're really tired of having to lead with these kinds of stories, man. And then it's actually almost bad that we get to the point that we say we're numb to it, right? Because I really wish that we didn't get to that point. But talk to me a little bit about your thoughts when you saw the story again, man. First thing this morning, here we are with this type of a situation happening with our youth.
Yeah, it's disheartening again. And this is not only the only one this week. I mean, last week, I shared with you, James, that shooting that happened in Dallas at a basketball game.
Yeah.
The championship basketball game, inside the arena, somebody's shooting. Now we have this situation coming. These young people have access to guns more than they have access to internet at their homes. And it's freaking frustrating. And it pisses me off that we, especially in the state of California, where we're the 4th largest economy in the world, making $3.3 $36 billion a year, and we can't pay our teachers. We can't pay the people to support our teachers, without them having to go on strike and have to go argument. We can't protect our youth no more. Let's just call it what it is. We can't protect our youth anymore. Every time your child steps out of the house and goes to an event, there is risk involved now. And we're not talking about risk, there's a fight. We're not talking about risk, there's a stabbing. We're talking about there's a fatal risk that they can be shot at any time on any given day because somebody's in a piss poor mood. I'm tired of using the excuse of mental health. Yeah. Because you're not mentally healthy when you grab a gun. You're not mentally incapacitated when you load the gun. You're not mentally incapacitated when you drive to the school. You're not mentally incapacitated when you're walking up to the school. You have every intention and thought what you're about to do. That is no mental health. You're conscious. That's a conscious decision that you make. And unfortunately, we give people a pass because they're adolescents. I'm sorry, a 17-year-old to me is not an adolescent because I was doing adult things when I was 17. So I knew there was
speak on that. That's the truth, right? That's true.
This person is
responsible for all their actions. You're right.
Yeah, there was adult ramifications for the actions I did at the age of 17. So I'm not going to give you a pass because you're an adolescent. You know what you're doing. Now, if there's things going on at home and you have mental health, there's usually a track record, especially at schools. There's a track record that you're IEP, you have difficult listening, you have ADD, there's a track record that leads up to these things. The problem I have is not so much with the school, but I have a problem with the parenting because easily there's other influences that are more important than their family is. Because I don't think his mother said go shoot out somebody or his father said that thing. So the other influences are more important. And the fact that he has the accessibility to get a firearm, whether it's at the home or on the street. I don't know how many times we gotta keep knocking on Congress's door and saying, hey, governor, do something, or mayor, do something about getting guns off the street. We say this.
Go ahead, but I'll put the explicit on it. Don't worry about it. We still monetize.
We keep saying the same thing over and over again, and we're getting the freaking same result because there's no action taken.
Yeah.
So what is it going to take? Is it going to take a teacher to kill a student? Is that what's going to wake somebody's eyes up? Doubt it. Because every time this happens, you know what's funny? Every time this happens, gun sales go skyrocketing out of the freaking system. So they justify that, hey, let's make more guns because people are buying more guns to protect themselves, which is it's just a vicious cycle. And now it used to be just adults. It used to be gang members. It used to be people that were involved in criminal
17-year-olds.
It used to be just those things.
Yeah.
Now this is seeping into kids at STEM schools. It's seeping in there everywhere we go.
Elementary
and they're getting younger and younger.
Yeah.
They're getting younger and younger. We had a thing in Dallas where that guy killed up an elementary school or shot up those elementary school kids. They're getting younger and younger. I don't know where the displaced rage is. I really don't. And maybe it is a mental thing or maybe not. I don't know where the displaced rage is, but I'm tired of giving a pass. Mental health is not an issue. Shit, I went through COVID just like we did. My kids came out fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what you were doing at your home, but my kids came out fine.
Yeah.
My kids don't have to pick up a book and read. My kids are not raised on the fucking YouTube. They're not raised on TikTok.
Yeah. So let me ask you this because again, and we talk about mental health a lot, and I see folks chiming in the comments and appreciate that. We're gonna keep going with that. And Mr. Riley, I want to go into that, right? Where is the onus, right? Who owns having? Because unfortunately, 3 out of 5 of the stories that we're gonna talk about tonight deal with some young cats walking around with a firearm, getting in trouble. And again, it's becoming so pervasive that we're not only talking about the outlier stories here on Team No Sleep. Unfortunately, these are now becoming mainstay stories. Coming from an educator's perspective, James, right? How do we go in there and talk to these young cats? This young 17-year-old. What are you at 17? You're a freshman or you're a sophomore, right? And give them a better route to services. Give them a better route, saying that they don't need to necessarily come to school with a firearm in their backpack. How do we get to that person? And I don't know the answer, but I want to put it up for discussion. How do we get to these people before it gets to a point where they go and go into the office, look for 2 administrators and start shooting administrators?
Like Montel said, man, it goes back, for me, it goes back to home training, right? I mean, you gotta know how to discipline your kids in a loving manner, right? But first of all, you have to provide a loving environment for the children, for the babies in in your house. You have to provide a loving atmosphere, give them everything, not everything that they need, but definitely the basic things, right? And you want to nurture that thing. You want to nurture their brains, their minds, encourage them to read and be involved in extracurricular activities. And once you do that, then most likely you're not going to have to worry about when they get to high school about them being influenced by the wrong people, or constantly looking and relying on social media to dictate how they should live.
Mm.
For me, you got to start at the home. The home is the first school, right? Parents are the first teachers. And so if parents and family and community are not doing what they're supposed to do, then somehow, some way, our children are falling through the cracks, right? But also, back to what Montel said about being 17 and taking responsibility. This 17-year-old young man, he has to, because no one is going to actually put a firearm in his hand. He has to make a conscious decision. And so once he does that, okay, you're not eligible to be tried or looked at as a juvenile. You're an adult, right?
Right.
And so for me, I have to think about it as a parent, right? I trust my kids, but it's like some of the places and things where they want to go, you want to give them a little freedom to kind of experience what the world has to offer as a junior, and definitely a senior in high school, because your school is going to be that microcosm of America, right? You're going to have an opportunity to vote for your favorite
Yeah.
associated student body president or whatever. And, you're going to have to make some grown up decisions. And so that high school experience is like a microcosm. And so we have to kind of give some freedom to our children. But, for me and my wife, it's sometimes it's kind of difficult because, where are you going? Who are you going with? How long are you going to be out? Right. But we trust our kids. We trust our kids because we've nurtured them. And so for us, it's not about our kids stepping out and doing things that are wrong. It's about some of these other knuckleheads who come and want to,
That's true.
cause problems.
So
Right.
let
I
me
trust myself.
so let me
I
ask
trust
this,
my kids.
because we're all somewhat seasoned, right? We
Yeah.
at least 40, 50 years old. I know I'm 50. Listen, I won't get into those numbers, but I wonder if it's the way that the legacy household was brought up, right? There was that extended family, right? There was the aunties, there was the
Mhm.
uncles, there was the grandma, right? There was onus and responsibility from those around. The neighbors checked in on you, made sure that you weren't acting foolish. Is it maybe that we've lost that connection and that ownership again? And I'm just bringing up some
Yeah.
comments just for dialogue. I mean, I'm seeing what Noosh was saying, right? And I respectfully like this as well. He says, in all due respect, James, you could offer every resource there is, and these kids would still somehow doing this kind of bullshit. So again, I'm just kind of bringing up the conversation just to have the conversation.
I truly, I mean, me personally, I think we've been in an era since the 90s till now where we have kids raising kids. We have a high rate, especially in our communities, we have a high rate of teenage pregnancy. So you now have a mother that's 31, 32 years old that has a 16-year-old. They both like the same things. That's a friendship. That's not a parenting. And I think that 16-year-old, that 16-year-old that had that baby that's now 31-year-old, her relationship with her mother is probably, or her father is not what we call as a standard relationship. I'm gonna call it what it is. If your mother loves Yo Money Bag Yo and you love Young Money Bag Yo,
make it plain.
Your kid is gonna emulate Money Bag Yo. That's impression. If she looks at him as an attractive, successful young man, and that's what she's preaching in her house, he's gonna emulate that because he thinks that's successful with his mom. Why do you think we have all these kids with tattoos at a young age? They're emulating people that their parents like. They have tattoos at all this young age. We're in a situation where, like I said, these are kids raising kids, and if a kid is raising a kid, it's almost like the blind leading the blind. You got to wait for a mistake in 44 in order for you to learn from it. Now, and let's look at the entertainment value, because I don't let them off the ball either. The entertainment, what they're looking at, is something that's a problem. I love hip hop music to death, but it is detrimental to our community. And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later
Yeah.
on. That is detrimental to our community because, like us, when we grew up, we had variety. We had different phases. We could listen to, NWA one day. We could listen to Public Enemy the next.
Right.
These kids nowadays don't have a variety. It's one mode.
That's
It's
a good
sex,
point right there,
drugs.
right? I mean, there was a huge dynamic and a difference there from socially conscious kind of one love kind of music and rap and lyrics as opposed to some of the other more violent type of things. I agree with you on that, and we, like you said, we're going to get into that content right there.
Yeah. I think also even just on that, but also on what we see. We had the privilege of having movies like House Party, and we would have movies like other movies. So we had these comedies that we would listen to. We had a lot of more influences that we could look at that were either fun poking at our cultures or someone looks like us, that they were having fun. Nowadays, name a movie that's not so corny that these kids can watch that is fun for them to look at. And it's okay for them to laugh at, dance to, have fun with. Instead of every movie we show right now, every music we show right now is thugging it out straight up, being against the wall, representing where you from, pop mollies, have sex at a young age. That's all that's thrown in their face consistently, over and over again. And it's just not like you can hear it on the underground. Remember, we used to sneak down and listen to Two Live Crew. We can listen to it in front of our mother's house.
Yeah, you're
Their
telling the truth. You're not talking out of turn right now. That's true. You are.
Yeah, their mothers and fathers are listening to that in front of them. They're watching those movies in front of them. They are applauding and praising those movies in front of them. So obviously, what are you going to be? If you struggle in school or you still have to feel socially awkward, you go fit in what you like. You see kids of the same similar like that, they like the same exact thing. You fit into the same thing. And in our generation, this generation now, where we didn't have guns that were so prevalent, guns are everywhere now. It seems like.
True. Man, this is we're only scratching the surface, and Mr. Riley, so you didn't know, man. This first story, we always get into it, right? I always budget 25 minutes for that first story, so we can get it out, get the emotions out, and we can have the dialogue. But unfortunately, we're not going to solve this issue. Unfortunately, this young guy is still on the loose. I think one thing that is fortunate, though, is that your school district, James, is actually they're striking right now to bring additional resources to have those kinds of conversations with the kids. So that's one good thing, that they're picketing, that they're on the line right now, talking to, trying to get the resources, the funding, and things like that. And unfortunately, here's another use case that they can position to leadership and administration and say, yes, look at what happened in Colorado. Let's not make that happen here as well in our neighborhoods. I saw some comments about AJ, who has experienced something very similar. So listen, man, shoot me a DM with your email address, and we will try to get you online, or we'll bring you into the private community, the digital collective, and have that inner circle conversation. So I appreciate you guys talking about that as well.
Hey, James, can I bring up something real quick?
Yes, sir.
So, our focus is right now just on the one guy, right? But, just watching that video clip, man, you got students who are actually afraid to go to school. And school, I've always thought about school being the safest place that you can go, but not in Colorado, because they've been so impacted by, shootings and lockdowns and this and that. You got a whole bunch of teens in that community who are afraid to return. Now, I believe the school is out for the rest of this week, but man, what's going to happen next week and the week after if something happens? And so, again, you got to have, because not everybody is carrying a gun. You got kids who really want to learn and kind of have a better understanding of themselves and where they want to go and how they want to, what college they want to go. They want to have that high school experience. But a lot of these kids now, they're scarred because of this one action. And so we have to do better. Yeah, that one dude, that 17-year-old, he has affected a whole group of teens, parents, community members, education specialists in that community. And so hopefully they can get through this whole thing, move by, move past, and heal, because that's really what needs to happen in that particular community.
Yeah, I mean,
I,
I
yeah,
keep glancing over to see if there's been any updates while we were talking, but they're still looking for that gentleman. And Laura Williams, appreciate you being here. This is again, you've had an unfortunate situation right there about your sixth grader being tased. What were you going to say, Montel, before we move on?
no, I'm just saying I appreciate Mr. Riley's information about like them moving on, but I think we're at a point, man. I think at least I know I'm at a point where just moving on.
Hmm.
That's the cliche.
Yeah.
We deal with it. We just got to move on. We got to figure out how to move on. And I do applaud you, like you're saying. The other 1,000 students that are in that school are now scarred or affected and those parents are scarred or affected about now their child even enjoying or going to a high school experience. I want to peel the onion back even more. Like, parents should be responsible as well. If you're a minor and your kid's got a gun and he's doing a criminal act, how come parents aren't held accountable? At least, and I want your opinion. Why are parents held more accountable? And Child Protective Services to me is a freaking joke, man, because I don't know what they do. They go in here, they make assessments. The judge has to either approve it or not, and they're not filled. They're just basically people that are out there just to report stuff and decide whether they want to bring it to charge or not. Situation like this, it should be automatically something that Child Protective Services should be involved in. If there's any other kids in that household, they need to do a fair assessment if that parent is capable of raising that kid to not coming in this situation anymore. I mean, there needs to be some kind of trickle down effect that so these things don't happen, or so if there's an example, if this does happen, this is what's going to happen. And I'm not seeing enough accountability for parents when situations like this happen.
And James, I'll let you go, but I almost wonder why there was already kind of an alert for this young dude as he approached school, right? I mean, he was already kind of highlighted as someone who had issues and could cause something, and why it was just that, right? Be on the lookout for this young dude as he comes to school when he's probably done something in the past, and we don't know exactly what it was that he's done in the past, but I mean, somebody could have intervened much more significantly, and we don't know the whole story, right? We're Monday morning quarterbacking this, but we don't know the entire story. But there should be some more thumbs down on the family and on this kid before that he got to this point that he's in right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. And here's my last point, man. They knew that he was, I don't want to use air quotes, but they knew that he had a propensity to kind of go off. Hence, he didn't come in with the regular kids. They said he came in like around 9:30. Usually, like out here, high school started at 8:30. So it's just like, and
come on,
wait, here's one more thing. He has his own special entrance. So he doesn't go in with the regular kids. He has to go through, not everybody's being checked. It's only this particular dude. So it's just like, okay, y'all already know that, something might pop off with him. And then here's last point. They said that when they return, they're going to have 2 police officers, stationed on campus. I'm like, really? Just 2? Is that all you can do for the rest of the school year?
Okay, now you got me. Now you got me. Really,
all right,
I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I get it. So
go ahead, get your last point in, man, because we got some other things we want to get into. But no, this is very important as well. So that's why I want to keep going. So
I'm just saying, at the point that they knew he needed to be treated differently. There's 2 sides of that. One, he's probably embarrassed because he is treated differently, right? As a kid, he can't fit in. He has to do things differently. And 2, if they know he's treated differently and they know he's dangerous, why are they allowing him into school? So I'm saying that's a fumble on the faculty and administration in that district. Why he should have been either homeschooled, done school somewhere else. If he's a threat to that many people, that many kids, and they knew he was going to be a threat to their kids, and there was a warning he's a threat to that many kids, why aren't they not removing it from that school and say, hey, you know what? You got to go somewhere else. We got to figure out a different educational system for you, because obviously you're dangerous to our faculty and our student body.
Yeah.
So now they should be charged. In my opinion, they should got some fault to it as well.
Absolutely. I will say, as an educator, there is something called FAPE, free and appropriate education. But his appropriateness was overextended, I think, to the point where he got to go through a different entrance than
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
regular kid. Just
yeah,
it's just
My
crazy. This is
goodness.
maddening. That's what it
It-
is. It's maddening.
This is going obviously. So we've got a list, unfortunately, and the list isn't getting shorter of the stories that we're going to continue to follow. What that we've said over the years that we're going to continue to follow up, and this is going to be another one that, again, I keep glancing over to see if there's any updates. Appreciate the dialogue on that. Appreciate the comments coming in. I see folks that are really communicating and asking questions, and I love that. And listen, this may also be one of those more extensive conversations that we have within the community on the back end.
Absolutely.
So I'll do that for everyone as well. I'm getting heckled for my UCLA hat. Listen, let's go and set that straight. Shouts out to the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, they in the playoffs. Finally had a winning season. But my daughter goes to UCLA, and they're about to go up against Don Staley this weekend. They're gonna go up against Don Staley in the tournament. So I got to represent my Bruins while they can. I think it's gonna be tough. Oh Lord, he done left.
Oh no, I'm here.
Oh, he done turned his lights off now. See, when I started talking about Don, stop playing. See, you're a producer. You're a video producer as well. So you was back there pushing buttons. Stop pushing buttons.
Wait, no. So I have a confession. My camera is kind of sick, and I'm not going to tell you my brand, but my camera's kind of sick. So, every now and again, it just needs a little dose of just a little dose of medicine. So, if you see me blank out, my audio is good.
Yeah,
it's just my video.
Good. You need a little Robitussin for that. Oh, you probably running an old Canon over here. Let's go ahead and stay focused. Let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so I was telling James, and I was telling him until this. This is the first time that I've seen Coach Saban actually have to get up in front of the folk on the lectern and actually make a comment about one of his players involved in a gun-related situation, and a drug-related situation, and a law abatement situation. So defensive back Tony Mitchell was driving 141 miles an hour as he and another colleague of his were in their car trying to avoid the police. When the police finally caught up with him, he had they had marijuana in the car. There was a smell of marijuana. They appeared to be under the influence as well. There was a loaded 9mm in the car. Tony Mitchell does have a concealed carry permit, but again, loaded firearm in the car, evading police, intoxicated, marijuana that is being intent to sell, which is the conversation that they're having right now. Obviously, he's been suspended from all team activities, but again, Tony Mitchell is only a freshman. This isn't a junior or 5th, 6th year senior. This is, again, a young kid right out of high school, freshman out there in Alabama. He's got his nice car, right? He's playing for Coach Saban, playing for one of the the big squads out there. And again, here we are, another gun-related story with our youth. I'm not gonna say why does he have the gun, because we keep asking that. And again, growing up in different neighborhoods, growing up in different areas, some of that makes sense. I was just watching a story about Lil Wayne. Right. And he was talking about, his mom bought him a gun while he was in high school to be safe out there in New Orleans. And right. So that was actually something that he grew up in those particular environments. So I can hear and I can understand that. But this guy, again, your circumstances, what you have at stake, what you have to lose. This doesn't make sense to me that Tony Mitchell should be out there running weed, running from the cops with a loaded firearm in his car. And just going through all those, that's 3 strikes right there. James, talk to us, man. What do you think about this when you saw this story?
Man, listen. Okay, so as a father of 2,
there you go. That's where I wanted to take this. Right, we gonna go and get personal. Yeah.
Again, it comes back to environment. It comes back to, so once you leave high school, you go get your apartment and your dorm or whatever, especially at a lot of places, the freshmen have a dorm. And so, you get all these freedoms. And sometimes these kids, they, especially, you're talking about Alabama, you talking about, you know, upper echelon, you know, they have people waiting on them, you know, hand and foot, right? And so, you know, for me, with this young man, you got to think about the choices that he's going to make. Okay, you got to permit, cool, but that doesn't mean that you necessarily have to have it on you at all times, right? Unless you're planning to do some do dirty,
Yeah.
you're gonna get some
Right.
do dirty.
if
Then
if you got
you
if
want
you
to
already
have a
got a
yeah.
predetermined thing that you're gonna do some dirt. Yeah, that's true. Right.
Absolutely. And then you look at this marijuana thing, right? So I'm gonna bring a story from one of my experiences with one of my sons. So you know, we move him into the dorm. It's a four person dorm. You know, he gets in. You know, he's new to this whole thing. One of one of the roommates smells like weed, and I'm just
Mm.
like,
Right as you moving
I'm like,
in, you're like, oh
as
Lord.
he moving in, and I'm just like, okay, so I know my son, right? And I know, you know, he has some morals, and so he has to come into this environment, and it's just like, okay, what's up with this dude? And so, you know, he's just like, hey, he's making bad choices. This is his first time away from home. You know, he's doing what he wants to do, right? Because you have the freedom now to do. And I'm just like, look, you know, when you're on somebody else's dime, someone has paid for you, someone has vouched for you, coaches, admin, you know, I don't know his academic, you know, Brother Mitchell's academic schedule,
Yeah.
but you know, I mean, you got folks who have vouched for you. You've worked hard because you're at Alabama, right? You could have gone anywhere else. You chose to go to Alabama. And so it's just like, you know, when you're in that position, athletes got to make better decisions because all eyes are on you.
Yes.
If you go to a D1, the upper echelon, all these supporters, alumni, they're counting on you. Your family. Think about the shame he's causing to his family,
Right.
right? Because it's not just isolated to Alabama. No, everyone who's affiliated with
this is on the cover of
D1 football,
ESPN.com, and that's why we talked about this, right? Again, this is
man,
now a
we talking
blank
about.
spot on his family. Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, dude, you know, when you get to this point, man, you got to make some grown up decisions. You got to do the right thing because folks are depending on you. You know, I don't know his financial situation. I don't know if he plans to, you know, if he wants to get to the league. But look, you had a shot. And now, guess what? It might be gone down the drain because you driving 107, 140, whatever. Kind of reminds me of the dude in Las Vegas. Was it Ruggs? Who was the guy? That killed
Alabama
somebody?
Rugs, yep.
Alabama, yeah, he sure was, right?
So I'm just like,
Same
okay,
squad. Yep.
what's up? What's up with the Alabama folks? So again, choices. You got to make better choices when you're D1 college athlete, and not just a D. I mean, you could be a D2, D3. It doesn't matter because even the lower schools. Trust and know it's going to be in the city's newspaper.
Yeah.
The coach is going to have to get up and make an announcement, a press conference. Oh, well, Joe Blow, you know, who went to Jackrabbit State, you know, now that local community is impacted. So it's just
and no
man,
one
folks,
wants to get Saban up there talking about them in a negative connotation, right? Man, so
Saban
that's just a
ain't got
bad
time.
thing.
He ain't got
got
time to talk
for
about
that,
negative
right?
stuff.
I'm gonna put this up there.
You probably can see. You probably can see it on his face. You like,
Yeah,
God,
Saban, come on. You know he dropped a couple of 4-letter words when he got off the microphone. Kevin, yeah,
like,
this did happen in Florida, but Florida
Yeah.
is right on the border of Alabama where this happens. So yeah, Montel, talk about this, man. Here we go again, right? Another situation happening where you got some explaining to do.
This is a privileged athlete. Let's be honest. Let's call it what it is. This is a privileged athlete thinking he can get away and he's above everything. And unfortunately, he's going to get another chance. Regardless of all y'all, everybody won't be mad. Everybody won't be upset. As long as he ain't killed nobody, he ain't raped nobody, and he ain't said nothing that offends certain communities, he's going to have another opportunity to play because he's an athlete. If he's an athlete at Alabama, I damn sure bet you Morgan State will offer him a scholarship right now if he decides to transfer.
he's got
And
some,
they
he's got
need
some
it too.
alternative. Yeah.
Yeah, and no one's gonna look back, and he'll have if he's that kind of player, he's gonna dominate, play, and he's gonna get an opportunity to go to the pros. My problem with the whole thing is, again, accessibility to guns, and two, since he's a freshman, what makes him what? I want to know his thought process. Why makes him think he wants to go back to Florida, get weed, and run away from the police and
Yeah.
come back to Alabama?
Yeah.
There's more. There's a layer to the story that we're not getting. There's something more to the story we're not getting.
There's always three sides, right? We only heard we only heard two sides, right? Him, his passengers, and we haven't actually heard the full side of it.
Because let's be all real. Speeding and smoking weed is nothing new at all at any university. I went to Humboldt State University.
Shout out to Humboldt State out there. Okay, you out there growing it yourself.
We good. I mean,
okay.
if you were talking about marijuana,
okay.
If we talk about marijuana, I could talk about marijuana all day because that's where I did 4 years of my education there, 4.5 years. But I'm saying, weed and speeding is nothing new. Having a gun is nothing new. Right. My thing is the whole thing around the story is the reason why. Why are you doing it? You're at a Division I program. They have an NIL deal. You get paid every month. You get paid a stipend every month because you're an athlete. He's a privileged athlete. Thought he could get away with whatever he thought he could get away with, and he got caught. That's the problem.
Yeah, let me see what was he driving.
Because other people doing it all the time. Georgia, University of Georgia got three people that died in the last 2 years from their events. One guy right now is under investigation, and he's about to be a first-round draft pick. So the exception, it goes away. If you're a good athlete, things can go away. I think we're more shocked the reason why, and you're a freshman, so you haven't even proved yourself. You haven't really been on the field yet, and you think you can go get away with speeding back from Florida with some weed and a gun?
Yeah. Bringing this distraction to the school, to the program, to you, your family, and all that. Right? I mean, it's just not a good look. It's just not.
It's just a distraction, man. All it is, hey, Pop got him, found him. He ain't a baller, so he ain't a top player.
Yeah.
So, hey, we need to report this, because I guarantee you, if that was a star quarterback, Young, that did that, this would be on hush hush. No one would be saying nothing.
Especially right around now, right? Because right now they're trying to get that money. Nothing. Yes, that's true.
This wouldn't come out until after the draft, if it came out even at all. So the fact that he was a freshman, he represents Alabama. The cop got zealous. He found he got him one,
Yeah.
And now he put it all out there. Is fine. Is the kid wrong? Absolutely. But more so than wrong, we need to figure out why he's doing it. What made him the need to go get weed and speed back in Florida? That's what Alabama should be asking. Why do you have to go back? We're paying you. You got an apartment. You got your own thing. You got everything you left the hood from. You got now. You got your own apartment. You got access to a car. You get money every month. You eat 3 meals, 3 hots in the cot every day.
You got a TA helping you with your classes, right? So you're not struggling. So Riley, this is a great day for you to be on, because again, coming from the education side, and again, just having this conversation, it's almost like support services for these athletes, for these students, for these kids are lacking somewhere. And I don't know who needs to be in the room, in the conference room, who needs to be at the chamber, all those board meetings to have that conversation with. How do we not have Tony Mitchell's happen again? How do we not have this young kid?
I know right now.
Come on.
Lay down the law right now. If Nick Saban says, you know what? You're suspended from my team. I will not sign your letter of release, and you're gone off the team for at least a year for 2 for violating these team rules. Guarantee it echo through all the NCAA, and nobody else will touch it. It'll set the standard.
All right.
Yeah.
But you won't do that because there's too much money involved. He's a quality athlete. He can play. Remember, you go to the national championship, man. Your school, if you go just attend the national championship, your school is getting damn near $75 million off the top. Are you gonna let $75 million go for? Would you let your son not sign a $75 million contract just because he was smoking weed and speeding?
Man, I'd forge your name.
Exactly.
Listen, don't let my son get. Yeah. Okay, we're not gonna talk about it.
So you know what I'm saying? So much money is involved, and it's not. Someone's gonna have to set the precedence at a Nick Saban level to say, hey, you know what? This is the precedence from now on. If you break team violations, if you break team rules, or if you do this thing to embarrass the university. Unfortunately, like I said, We're only talking about this because the cop put it out before. I'm pretty sure he talked to Nick Saban. Because typically, this is how it usually happens. If you get in trouble with the law, they call the coach or they call the people in the office saying, "Hey, we got one of your players in trouble." Blah 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 to get the story right.
Right.
I think this dude, whoever arrested him, leaked it out first. That's why Nick Saban's up there has to explain himself. Because otherwise, he wouldn't get up there and explain anything. That's the reality of Division I sports, especially at that high level. When something goes wrong, man, it ain't like, hey, he just got arrested and go. I mean, we got people. We could attest. We were talking about New Mexico like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
They got 2 murders in New Mexico.
True. Yeah.
And I just want to be clear. I just want to be clear. New Mexico State.
See, okay,
New Mexico State. Excuse me. Yeah.
So go ahead and throw it out there. Tell them why you want to be clear on that. Go ahead. You got some.
No disrespect to the Lobos. No disrespect to the Lobos. That's the Cowboys. So, but I mean, those situations happen all the time, man. I think this the guy whoever let this news out is just an idiot. The cop just was an idiot, I guess, or he just jumped the gun. I'm saying the bigger picture, pulling back the onion again, you better figure out why he's doing this. Instead of he did it, but why did he go do it? So you can prevent the next person that's in that same situation to not do it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If let me drop a couple of nuggets, right? So we see that the infraction happened in Florida. So, it could have been that they might have been on spring break, right? And so you're not going to have those counselors and folks who are, supposedly, in the room or helping, with this program or whatever the case might be with his schedule. And, it could have been spring break, right? So, my 2 sons was just here. One just left today, going back to his college. The other one left on Sunday, going back to his college. And guess what? They were here for spring break, right? Thank God that they came home. They came home, right? They didn't, one wanted to go somewhere else and kind of hang out. But normally they come home to hang out with family during spring break, right? And so maybe this was the case for this young man. He decided to go home for spring break and he got caught up. Right? And so it goes back to the people that you hang with, the decisions that you make. And if you're not in a position to realize, okay, this action might be detrimental to my scholarship, it might be detrimental to the team, whatever the case might be, then somebody like, Montel said, some of these guys have, they're privileged athletes. And so, again, you got to make better decisions. Stop being who, society wants you to be, right? Be someone.
I say make better decisions, but I think you need to have a stiffer punishment when these things do happen.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I totally agree. Something, like you said, Nick Saban, they need to put down the law, or even in NCAA, they need to put down a law or a rule, just like they did with this NIL madness. They need to come up with something as well. And in fact, everybody who is, on, a team, all these players, because they're making money, they're making buku money, right? You talk about the national championship. And so, the football teams, the basketball, they need to do something so that they can help these, young men and young ladies represent and, help them kind of guide them down the right path, because they're going to have a lot of freedom, make better decisions. Absolutely.
I was looking up to see where Tony Mitchell's from. His hometown is in Alabama, Alabaster, Alabama. So again, maybe just spring break. And I didn't even think about that, right? Again, all the students are going around, and Florida's right there across the border. So that's probably the situation. Hopefully he learns from this. And glad no one was hurt. Hopefully, coach is definitely going to lay down the law, at least in the locker room. So we'll see how this all pans out as well. But again, this is just one of those unfortunate situations that happen. Third story. Still talking about, unfortunately, the same type of precedent. But we're gonna we may end with this one, because this one may take a little bit more time and more conversation. So if you got a drink, if you drinking coffee, you drinking your water, whatever, go ahead and take a little sip right now, because we may get into this, because there's a lot of aspects to what's going on with Ja Morant. Ja Morant, we know, has had a number of situations that have happened. We know that he's been suspended for a while. He could have came back to play last night, but his body wasn't ready, right? He's got to get back into playing condition. But the team has actually decided that, look, when Ja does come back and we are out of town, when we go to Miami, when we go to Los Angeles,
Hey, Vegas. You can say you can say Vegas.
when we go to
You can say
Vegas,
Los Angeles.
you know, when we go to those types of spots, that night when the clock strikes 00:00 on the game,
Yeah.
they going home. They not staying around. The team has made it. It's even difficult for me to get this out without even laughing. The Memphis Grizzlies has said, we're going to change our whole protocol for away games because of the situation that's happened with Ja. And we are immediately going to leave that city. I want to find the actual word that they use, but those more, let me find the word here. I'll find it. But those types of cities, the Miamis, the Los Angeles, the Vegases, things like that, they're not going to stay around to make sure that the team and Ja don't get themselves into the kind of situation that unfortunately he had in Colorado at the strip club with the firearm and all of that. Your thoughts on this right here, and then I want to go into the other aspect that I told you about Ja Morant as well. Your thoughts on what the Memphis Grizzlies are doing for Ja.
You want me?
Y'all go right ahead, because I'm trying to find the exact wording that they use. It was very very clever marketing.
I'll go real quick. Let me go first, real quick.
Go ahead, Montel.
Sad, man.
Is it sad? What's so sad about it, man? What's wrong? What's wrong with you?
You mean to tell me that an organization has to change the way they do business because they feel this dude is not acting right?
Yeah.
This the problem I have with this. You're now laying the responsibility on the organization and not the accountability of Ja's actions.
Mm-hmm. Ja's
supposed to be responsible for his actions as a grown man, for one, as an athlete for two, and as a role model for three.
Yeah.
So these
glitzy cities like Miami, we're not gonna stay around. Okay.
We could be in Dubai. We could be in Miami or Freak Fest in Atlanta, and he should be able to control himself and act like a damn adult.
Shouldn't he? Especially when the ringleader of his squad is who? Mr. Riley? Who is it? Who's it? The ringleader of his squad is his dad.
I was about to say his dad. His daddy.
The ringleader of his squad is his dad.
Well, then you know what? Do like the Lakers did and ban his dad from coming to any functions, just like the Lakers did with Ball.
They sure did.
If that's the case,
they sure did.
I'm going to suspend your daddy from coming to any function because me as an organization. You mean to tell me Apple's going to change the way you do business because they can't trust you on traveling? Oh, you know what? After the conventions, we got to make sure James and Montel's in their room.
Yeah, come
and
on.
They got to fly out right away after they present the convention. Man, that sounds idiotic to me. That sounds crazy.
That's what's happening. That has happened from the boardroom of the Memphis Grizzlies. They are changing the entire protocol. Okay.
The Grizzlies need to be embarrassed for themselves. What kind of standard are you setting as a professional organization that I'm not in control, Ja's in control. We got to make sure we leave the city right away because we don't want to get Ja in trouble. Yeah. Man, Ja better get his ass right. I ain't gonna cut that check no more. That's what's gonna happen.
Right.
That's what it should be. They should be setting the standard saying, you know what, Ja, if you're going to go out, you better have these protocols in place. Ja, if you're going to go do something, you better have these protocols in place out of your own pocket, out of your own dime, because as soon as you and your daddy mess up, you know what? You'll be suspended for 100 games now. Whatever the case they want to be. This is ridiculous, man. This is taking away the accountability for Ja's action, and that kind of pisses me off. Because
this shows you who's in control. This actually also shows you who really is in control. So, James, talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on this aspect. Again, the entire Memphis Grizzlies staff is saying we're going to change our entire dynamic of how we operate when we're on away games because this guy may end up at a strip club with a gun in his hand on IG Live. And we don't want that to happen again. But we can't have a. I don't even want to put words in your mouth. Talk to me when you see this, man. Come on.
This is so. You know what? Here, you probably set this up for just to talk about choices. Because here we go. Again, we're talking about choices, right? Just like Allen Iverson talked about practice. We talk about choices tonight. Man, this is so. you getting paid all this money, right? Well, first
Mhm.
let's talk about the daddy. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the daddy,
Let's
right?
talk about the daddy.
You know,
I
that's
have no
crazy.
respect for his daddy, and I say
Never,
that I say that on live TV right now. I
I
have no
would
respect for
never
his daddy.
act like that if that's
Yeah.
crazy, right? Money changes folks. Money changes folks,
Yeah,
and
come on.
so dad gotta represent and be a parent instead of a friend. That's
Say
what's
that one
happening.
more time.
I'll say it for the back row. Daddy has to be parent, and maybe daddy hasn't been a parent since Ja's entry into the NBA or when he was playing college ball. He was one and done, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so one and done. Daddy hasn't been a parent in a long time, because if daddy was a parent, then he would have had a much better influence on how his son is behaving. Now, I know that you got women shaking their tails and being in the hotel lobby and X, Y, and Z, right? We know about that. But daddy he gotta represent, right?
Yeah.
And then also he has to take responsibility. Why would you get on? People don't understand. I think some of these cats need a course in social media 101 for athletes. Okay, maybe that's a course that the three of us can devise and work together on.
Let me take
Because
some notes. Hold
why
on. Don't keep on talking. Let
why
me take
would
some
you
notes on
go?
that.
Wait a minute. Why would you go on IG Live
Your own
with a
IG
gun?
live, right?
Oh,
Not
your
somebody
own.
else's too. Not someone else filming you. You filmed yourself.
And then wait, you in a strip club.
Oh,
Okay,
Lord.
now if you go after the game, do what you do, but why are you gonna be in the club with your gun up next to your head? Okay, Uh, that's crazy. Look at me, look at me. I got all this money and I got a gun and I'm in a strip club. No, dude, make better choices. You're a franchise player. You're a role model. And so what now is going to happen? Folks ain't gonna want to come to you. They're gonna stop coming to you because you
You're gonna
doing
mess up
X,
your
Y,
money.
Z.
You're gonna start messing
Yeah,
up your money, right?
you're
Your
gonna mess
Nike
up.
money is gonna start drying up, or whatever the case
Like,
may be.
I'm gonna quote Chris Rock. That's an attention whore right there.
Yeah.
You're an attention whore. You want to get some attention somehow, so you decide to put yourself on IG, and he's addicted to attention. Whether it's positive or negative, in my point. And you're right. It's all about choices. But it's all about choices. But obviously, he's not equipped to make right choices because he's been making bad choices, and his father's not equipped to make the right choices because he's making bad choices, letting his son do it. So I'm saying, if I'm the franchise and I'm the guy that's cutting the check, I'm going to make the choice for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay down some ground rules, and I'm going to be very transparent with the rules are. And if you break them, this is what's going to happen. That's all that needs to be done with John. I don't understand why everybody we going through all this circles and all this situation. Look, John, period. Sit down with you. Listen, hey, we're going to Miami. Your ass need to be in by 1:00.
Curfew.
What? Oh, I'm a grown ass man. Oh, you a grown ass man, but I'm the one that pays you, and I'm paying you to entertain fans and get out there and win this games. So while when you're in the off season, you can go do what the hell you want to do. During season, while we're flying you out here, your curfew is at 1:00.
If you want that game check, if you want this game check, this is what you're gonna do to get this money.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you're gonna pay for a bodyguard to go with you everywhere you go.
Absolutely.
I told James last week, I don't understand his circle. John's circle, it behooves me because I'm always about protecting the bag. If he's the bag, ain't nothing happening to him. He's not gonna give you. There's no negative shine gonna be on him at all. If we was fighting pit bulls, Michael Vick wouldn't have went there. I would have went to jail.
I'd
have been like, that's my ring.
Okay, that's truth though. That's true. Lord have mercy.
So
absolutely,
John would have been like, yo, there's no way you're gonna have no gun. For one, you don't need a gun. We're right here. For two, all right, you in the strip club, we're gonna be right here. We're gonna watch you, man. You do what you do. We'll be cool. It's funny. John Morant hangs with his crew and no bodyguard. Mike Tyson, who was most dangerous man in the world, had a bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
you know why? So he doesn't make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
Josh's job, man. I mean, this story. Whoever wrote this story, it needs to be fired because this is a waste of ink.
Well, so the story is on a lot of publications, but I think the action is the issue that I'm bringing about. Right, the action of the Memphis Grizzlies is what I'm talking about. This is all over the major publications.
I understand that, but it's a waste. I mean, to me, it's a waste of ink and a waste of the story.
I hear you.
Look, John, do what the hell I tell you to do, or we can fire your ass. It's as simple as that. As simple as that.
So
That's like,
let me ask you guys about this then, because again, along the same lines with the Ja situation, we've had we've had Ja Rule
Mhm.
come out and say that the responsibility of this may not all be on just Ja Morant himself. The responsibility for the actions, and I'm paraphrasing. I'll put the link in the
Mhm.
story of this complex article if you want to. But Ja Rule is saying that the hip hop culture, hip hop music, the influence of the music and the culture is partially to blame for Ja Morant and probably some of these negative actions and these negative types of behaviors that are going on. What do you guys think about
they,
that?
I think they are when you don't have guidance at home.
Yeah,
My kids listen to the same thing, but they understand that's entertainment. That's not reality.
That's all you gotta say right there.
that's
Wow.
it.
I
That's
mean,
it.
I
it's the
don't need to
God's
pull nothing
honest
else
truth.
out of you. That's all you
Yeah,
gotta say right there.
it's the God's
Wow.
honest truth. I mean, we all been in that situation. We've all grown up through that situation. We've all seen it. We've all was in the music. We all our pants sagged or they were baggy. We wore certain things. We wore bandanas. We always either were involved or had a friend that was involved in gangs. We've already been through all that situation. We understand the music that was coming out when they was singing, when NWA was singing, and when Death Row was alive. We knew that was entertainment.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's cool. I like it, but I damn sure ain't about to go shoot up nobody because somebody's saying something on a song. So it all comes back home to your home training, your home upbringing.
Yeah.
We as parents, all three of us, I'm pretty sure collectively know, hey, we tell our kids that's entertainment. Creed is not
Yeah.
real. You ain't gonna fight nobody and win in 2 hours and win and be the champion of the world. You're not gonna go and be able to shoot up 1,000 aliens in one thing when you drop off. You're not gonna be able to be a drug smuggler because you're watching BMF. That's entertainment. That's just entertainment value. You can be intrigued by it, you can understand it, but you also know, hey, reality comes right back home. And I think Ja's absolutely right. Hip hop is probably one of the most. It's the most influential music in the world, but the gangster and the trap music is one of the most detrimental musics in the world because it influences the kids to do a lot of negative things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's right. I think he's right. Yeah. Sorry.
You know, I'm a disagree slightly because, man, listen, you know, for real life here. So you know, hip hop head, you know, listen to gang of good hip hop, right? And so, when my kids were young, I chose not to listen to my style of stuff, right? My KRS-One, right? My Boogie Down, Public Enemy, you know, Biggie,
Yep.
Tupac. I chose not to because their ears were sensitive. However, when they got or became of age, I kind of introduced, you know, slowly some of the real music that I enjoy, right? And so it wasn't until like maybe talking, you know, my oldest son, you know, when we were rolling around, maybe in his sophomore or junior years, when I felt comfortable with listening to rap lyrics that had profanity, right? Because I already knew that he had a strong foundation. And, you know, so, you know, he wasn't going to go out and try to, be like Ice-T 6 in the morning, police out my door. No, he wasn't trying to do all that because he had a good foundation. Right. And so, you know, I just kind of, it just took, and now I'm able to kind of sit and, you know, my oldest is 22, my second is 20, you know, we can roll up and down the street, you know, listen to, Snoop doing what he does and everybody else. But I know that they're not going to go out and try to, do whatever the rap song is talking about. Right. And so again, you know, there's boundaries. And so it might have a little influence, especially for those folks who didn't grow up in the same kind of environment that I did. Right. Mine was a little bit more loving and nurturing. And so realizing that, okay, you know, folks are, you know, I don't want to say on the other side of the tracks, but, you know, they have a little bit more, um, they're prone to kind of, you know, be influenced by the stuff that they listen to and want to emulate what they talking about. And so, you know, I don't want to totally disagree, but I think again, you know, if you have, and maybe we have a case of having folks who kind of grew up in a nurturing environment, and maybe we have some folks who didn't grow up in a nurturing environment where there's no discernment. Over here in the Riley world, there's some discernment, right? Because you're
I
not gonna
love
have
it.
my kids shooting up or smoking or doing whatever. Nah, not over here, Jack.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna do all that, it's time to pack your bags and be out. That's what
Yeah.
you know. And
So
so
that's
going
back to
back to
that's back to that family dynamic, though. That's back to
Yeah.
that
going
home
back to the
training.
family
We're almost
dynamic.
coming back to that whole type of mentality of, you know,
Absolutely.
it has to start at home, has to start at that kitchen table with, you know,
Yeah.
you have school at school, but when you come home, we've always told our kids you have school at school, but you have school when you come home as well. So just
Absolutely.
why is that missing? But I love that whole
Yeah.
thing.
And then
But
and then here's the last thing. Before you hop in, Montel, because I know you know you can go for a little bit. So here's you know, but and I appreciate it. It ain't you know I ain't capping. You know I
no,
ain't
it's all
bagging
good.
on
No,
you.
no. Yeah.
But no, going back to what the Grizzlies are doing. Yeah, man, you causing shame because now they gotta switch up their whole thing now,
Yeah.
right? So it's no longer you know you spend the night and get up or whatever time you know whatever accommodations and arrangements they had. Now it's almost like okay, we gonna play this game because of this one dude. He don't know how to act. We all gonna get punished, and soon as
He done
soon as
messed
the
it up
game
for
is
all of
over,
us.
we got to roll to the bus, right? And I like what you said, Montel. Nah, if you can't do X, Y, and Z, then your behind needs to be cut, or your wages, you know, what you get paid, because you're causing shame upon the city, you're causing shame upon the organization. And so, you know, of course, they're going to come out with these apologies on, you know, I was like, really miss me with that. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were
He
doing.
said, "Miss me with that."
Miss me
So-
with that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's my 2 cents.
Appreciate that, man. We're gonna go deeper into this. I think this, Montel, we need to go and have more in depth, kind of 201, 301 level conversations about actionable
yeah.
items.
Yeah, I think Ja Rule is on point. I believe he's on point. I think the influence of hip hop music has been somewhat detrimental. It has been. It just has been. And I can appreciate, you know, Mr. Riley, his situation. My background completely different. I mean, but my family, we're okay. I mean, my brother was banging. He was doing this thing and doing all that. I chose not to. It comes down to choices, right? And kind of where you're at with your home life and what guidance you have at home. I'm saying hip hop has played a bad part, man. I gotta agree with him, man. There's no way you can't say that the music, because we're so influential with the fashion, the style, the lingo, what comes with it, you know, and everything that comes with it. And we're still fascinated when things happen to him. You know, rest in peace, that boy Triple X, man. They just, you know, convicted his killers that killed him.
Yeah.
He being Rocky, was it you in LA? You know that situation. Those things are very influential in our community and amongst people, and I don't know why, but that hip hop culture, that negative part of hip hop, is done. And like I said at the beginning, when we grew up, we had balance, right? We had balance. Like you said, you like KRS-One, you know, Rakim, all them, and then we had the NWAs and those guys. We had the balance. Today's kids have no balance. It's either gangster rap, what they say, call rap gangster rap, or they got trap music. So
Yeah.
you can't say if you listen to the same thing over and over again, same style, that you're not going to be influenced by it. I'm influenced. I'm influenced by Tupac. I'm influenced by PE. I'm influenced by KRS-One. I'm influenced by all those guys.
Right.
We still write the same. We do the same lyrics. If it comes on the radio, I can sing every word to it.
Listen,
So,
I was rapping some Tupac last night at the gym. So I took the day off when we lost. So again, I feel the exact same way. Yeah.
So if that's influence from us, and we're at the age we're not, can you imagine what they've been listening to is all this trap music and all this negative music?
Yeah.
So it basically is an influence on them, because our generation of rap is gone. They don't listen to that. It's old school. They really don't listen to that as much. They listen to what they listen to. And to me, I feel Ja Rule is right. I don't know if the people want to chime in. I think he's right. I think it's had a negative impact on our communities, big time.
Hey James, I'm gonna send you one of these Sonys I got. I got a couple of mirrorless cameras. I'm gonna send you the ZVE1.
Hey, listen.
Come on now.
You are stop bagging on me. Listen,
you're gonna step away from the cannon. Step away from the cannon. Man, brother.
I'm not denying or confirming about my cannon.
We're gonna leave them M50s alone. Boy, come on.
Listen, Listen, it has COVID, so it's all good.
Oh
It's all
Lord, you
good.
know what I'm saying? It needs some
It
tussing.
needs its vaccine, okay? So just
Need
leave
some
my
tussing. That's all right. All right, listen, we got two more stories, but we want to be really brief on those. So we'll be cognizant of time and be respectful of your time. And I was just going to ask you guys. I know you're really influenced and really deep into football, but did you get a chance to check any of the World Baseball out and see kind of the results of
I saw
those
the highlights.
matches? And oh, so you saw the highlights, okay? Because you don't like
Mhm.
to watch baseball anyway, because it's too long for you. Okay.
That's paint dry, baby. That's watching paint dry right
Oh
there.
my God. You know what I'm saying? But what about you, James? Did you get a chance to check out any the World
You know what?
Baseball Classic?
I did not. I am a fan of football. I mean, baseball. I am a fan of baseball. You know, I love my Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
Love going out to the ballpark when I get a chance. But the World Baseball Classic, I know they're looking for a new audience, or trying to build the audience in terms of international play and everything. But I think my son kind of helped me out a little bit with some of the players. I know we were talking about a couple of days ago. Trey Turner had hit a nice
Yeah.
game
Yep.
winning
Mhm.
was it 2-run home run or a grand slam? I'm not too sure. So we just kind of talked about it. But for me, it's just like, okay, it's just another event. So hopefully, I don't know if how well did Team USA do? Did they get put out or?
So that was actually probably the bigger
Yep.
piece of the story about that, because Japan and USA were playing against each other, and Otani, bottom of the ninth, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Otani's on the mound, and he's pitching to none other than
The Mike Trout.
Mike Trout.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what kids want to see. That's what the adults want. That's what the true fans of baseball want to see. Otani ended up striking his teammate out. Japan won, and just that whole dynamic of having that happen. And what was really interesting for me, because I'm a huge baseball fan, was that a lot of those players said this was one out of 2 or 3 of their most memorable moments playing the game
Mm.
ever. So
Yeah.
regardless of a World Series pennant, regardless of a ring, regardless of anything else, playing for your country, right?
Yeah.
Mexico versus Venezuela versus Puerto Rico versus Japan, all of that, kind of the Olympics of baseball, that this week and a half was kind of that high of a adrenaline push for them. So that happened, and yeah, Japan beat United States by 1. I think it was 3-2 was the score. So we will see what happens next year. I just want to get you guys' feel on that, and then we will end with a feel good story. Inclusion.
Yeah.
Right. Olivia
Yeah.
Bacardi over at Brown University in Rhode Island. Shouts out to Brown University. She got her chance to get up to bat. D1 school. Took a swing at a ball coming at her. She grounded out. It was the bottom of the ninth, but she got her chance. So she was actually the first woman to play in a D1 baseball game. And that's just got the weight of that. And I can only imagine what the pitcher felt like as he was throwing to her. And then when she finally made contact with the ball, right? Imagine if she had taken that thing over the fence. Man, he'd have been, but look, it'd have been a whole different story. But just the fact that she was able to get up there and do that thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A lot of young girls were looking at that and saying, listen, I can do that too. I just think that's just a really cool story that Olivia was able to get out there, be the first woman to play in a D1 ball game. They lost the game.
Yeah. I love it. I love it because you talked about inclusion. You talking about, especially during March, which is a Women's History Month. I think it's a wonderful thing to have young ladies, if they're willing to go through the time and effort, to participate, to be a part of. I'm not too sure if she's actually on the squad, but she opted not to play softball, which is
Yes.
she's like, nah, I don't want to play softball. I want to play baseball.
Yeah.
And so she gave it the college try. And so, again, if she's on the team, then, stories like this is, they're wonderful. They're inspirational, because there might be other girls who might want to play baseball instead of softball, right? You think about the emergence of girls football, right, or ladies football right now, and so that's taking shape, and so at some point in the very near future, there might be a young lady, playing professional football, right? And so, we just have to get ready for it. Now we always see the opposite side, right? So, if I'm thinking about, let's say just cheerleading, we see guys on the cheerleading squad, right? So, you kind of flip the dime on the opposite head. So now we have a young lady who's on the boys, D1 baseball team, so it's a feel good story, and you kind of like to hear things like that. And so, the guy probably would have been the laughing stock, or
he'd have had a hard time in the locker room.
He would have got a hard time.
Right. It was close. Look at it. She was moving.
But he would have been a part of history, right? Yeah. Even though, and he's still a part of history at some point. And so it's just a feel good story, and good for her, good for Brown. And, I'm just hoping that she is a part of the team. I'll go back and kind of check the article and see if she's actually a part of the team, or if they just said, okay, well, let's allow her to play.
Well, she's listed as a utility player. So again, probably like a DH or, something of that nature. So,
and as long as she's on the squad, she's on the squad. So who knows? She might get a home run. She might get a hit, a double, triple. Who knows? But she's contributing to the D1 boys baseball team at Brown University. So good job, Brown.
Yeah, it is. See, Montel, you don't like baseball. I'm trying to get you to like.
No, man.
That's why we ended the night with some baseball stories. Like, come on, brother. We could have talked about the new rules, the pitch clock and all that, but no.
I will get into the baseball stuff. When that happens, I'm just saying with this story, man, I think it just is groundbreaking. I mean, for her to be able to do that, be a part of the team, I'm hoping she's on scholarship at Brown. She's obviously very brilliant if she's at Brown University.
Yeah.
So the one that she's groundbreaking, and she's been able to be in that situation, and she's been able to participate in games on the men's side, I think it now just opens up the conversation now. I mean, as you alluded to, girls football is taking off. Maybe girls baseball will take off, not softball, but girls baseball.
Absolutely.
It come to that situation. I don't know if it'll ever be integrated. I think men are too stubborn to make sure it's integrated like that. Women and men, it doesn't matter how good she will be. They'll always cast a situation where they won't be out. But I do believe there is now an opportunity for someone to piggyback off of this, to have girls baseball and let them do the same rules as baseball, and be able to be in that creative space as far as playing professional baseball for women, and even at the collegiate level, not just softball but baseball, because we know those are they're too different, especially on the way they operate. I think she's groundbreaking, man. Kudos to her, man. I hope she can continue. I hope she can have some even much more success, so we can talk more about her, because that'll open even more eyes and more people to be open to the conversation.
There it is. James Riley, you came in or something tonight. Was you ready? Were you all right? You gonna come back?
Listen, anytime you want me to come on back, my man, I'll come on back. And like I said, it was a pleasure to hop on with you guys. Like I said, from time to time I peek in and hop in, and and likewise, you do the same thing when I'm live. I see you throwing up the two fingers, so it's all good. It's different for me. And I think I said that in the green room. It's different for me. I'm usually the host. So being on this side of the camera, I know, my camera's not feeling too well, but still just having this opportunity to kind of chop it up with you and Montel, just an awesome experience. And I think I was ready. And so, we'll let the viewers and the listeners to kind of see if I'm ready. But, folks have been kind of going off in the comments. And so, like I said, thanks for having me, man. And I'm hoping that I added some value to the conversation tonight. So
most definitely. I tell you what, before we let you go, tell folks where they can find you, because I definitely want folks to know about your channels and all of that stuff as well. So let's get some shouts out to that.
Absolutely. Well, I am on YouTube. I haven't been creating too much content lately. Over here in Riley World, we've been kind of busy, so I just need to find some time to get back into to hosting. And I did have a show called West Coast Wednesdays, which was kind of around the same time that you were on. So we'll probably spark that up and might put it on a different day and call it something else. But yeah, I'm on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube. Just type in Mr. Riley's World. And I'm also on Instagram. If you want to find me on the gram, Mr. Riley's World 1, the number 1 is my handle. And, I'm also on Facebook as well. So, you can get at me.
You out there in
one of those platforms.
Yeah,
I'm out there in the streets right now. Right now, we striking with, like I said, the solidarity with my local 99. And so just having fun, man. I told my group, tomorrow's going to be the last day of our 3-day strike. And I told the group, it's like, look, we're going to be professional strikers this last day. So I'm just excited. I was able to go out and rally and chant, and had some time to kind of kick back and get ready for this live stream. And so tomorrow we're just going to give it our all. And I'm hoping that the city officials will get involved in helping the negotiations for the 2 different unions. But like I said, we're done tomorrow. We'll go back to work on Friday. And it's a wonderful thing. So y'all say a prayer, give us some positive thoughts down here in LA Unified as we kind of figure this thing out. And again, man, just this is a wonderful platform that you and Montel have, discussing sports, the social impact of sports, and just getting some of the topics out there. So, man, I appreciate you having me on, and can't wait till it happens next time.
Appreciate you, man. Hey, Montel, he just took your closing. But I'm still gonna we're gonna let you have your flowers too. But Mr. Riley was. I'm glad I was recording, because I'm gonna cut that out.
Yeah,
we might use that in the future. Go ahead and take us home, though, Montel.
Yeah, definitely. First of all, shout out and prayers to Willis Reed, the great basketball player for the New York Knicks. He passed away today. Rest in peace. Got to give a shout out to my boy Chris. His mom is sick. Chris Smith. Hope his brother gets better. My prayers are with you. And you know what, man? Just get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. That's the way we got to go. That's what we leave out. Salute.
Y'all be good to yourself.